Well, let's start from the beginning. At some point in my life, I became curious about music. I used to go to music school in my childhood. It was not for long, 1 year. My mom used to play, so that was kinda the point to try. Also, we had an old piano in the room, and I showed some interest to it. In my young mind, I expected to be fun and free from any borders. Because, well, it's music, you know. While your mind is open for new, there is no limitation in the art. And with this expectation, I hit the wall that called classical music education. There was a right way to learn how to play and the wrong one. Of course, it could be a difference from one teacher to another, but it seems like tradition was more important than your own feelings. So back to 7-year-old me, first and the last year in music school. Comparing to my mom's memories, I was lucky to have a kind teacher, and yet piano class was not a friendly place. A snowflake like me couldn't bear the silent pressure behind my back when I failed something. And there was another problem occurring. Piano class was not all of it. There was lessons in music grammar as well. I just draw something in my notebook, or doing nothing instead of paying attention to the teacher and learning notes. Sometimes I would like to watch how a child becomes smaller every time, and when she changed it to a new, big one, this kind of game would reset itself. Yeah, I know.
I'm kind of retarded.
After finishing exams, I just said to my mom that I am not interested in this anymore and laid off. About exams and the end of the year. Kids learning few tunes and play it in front of a commission. For some reason I was positive that I have to learn only 2 compositions. Imagine my face when after finishing the second one my teacher sit with me and, well, it seems like there was a third piece after all and we should play it together in 4 hands. I don't know what I did, I guess I just improvised some nonsense in order to keep up. I still remember that look when I started playing and she was like,
What?
flash forward in 20-year-old me. At this point in my life I had few instruments in my disposal. I started my journey with a cajon, Spanish percussion, and in the process of playing and learning day after day, my interest to try new instruments grows. I had a classical guitar at home since I don't know, childhood. Back then I wasn't interested in it at all, and after a year or so of drumming on that wooden box, I was like, guitar, why not give it a try? By the way, about learning process itself. Since I don't know notes and doesn't have any wish to learn it, since I don't know notes and doesn't have any wish to learn it, I just play it by my own. I mean, it's percussion, just drum whatever you want and figure it out in the process. Oh, of course, it is worth to mention that around that time I discovered jazz. I started watching live recordings of John McLaughlin, El Di Meola, Paco de Lucia, and after that trio it was Chick Corea, acoustic and electric bands. And my dad gave me a cool advice. You're watching all these shows, try to play with them, turn it on and drum on your cajon, improvising, adapting in the process, trying to sound united with the band. And that way I adjust my technique and sense of rhythm. I just turned on the videos, sometimes ones that I'm familiar with, sometimes not, and played with them. Of course it was kinda bad at the beginning, I was off rhythm quite often, but through that experience I learned to not be afraid of making a mistake. Playing these sessions daily is really helped me to gain the sense of freedom on the cajon. After that I started to learn guitar. Ground nails, getting used to moving patterns. It's a different instrument and of course it didn't go so easy as with rhythm on cajon. But still, interesting experience. And yeah, the practice of playing with record on background I tried only on cajon when it was the most successful, and then later on piano. But not as much as I used to do it on the Spanish percussion. And after trying few instruments I found my own. Piano it is. I started to play at 23, I guess. I remember right before that I discovered Drew Fukui. Internet says that he started to play at 24, I was even later. 1 year of music school in 7 years is not count, guys. I don't remember anything valuable from that period of time. As soon as I got piano at home, I started to improvising day after day, beginning to memorize moves that sound better than others. And with time I've noticed that if I take few of that moves, find a way to stitch them up together, it's gonna look like an actual composition. Or at least something close to it. I cut off my nails on the right hand, because it's not really comfortable to play on piano with them. Important note, every hand is different. In order to play with your nails on the guitar, you'll need them to be longer than the tip of your fingers. And since my fingertips extend beyond the edge of the nail, I had to grow fairly long nails in order to hit strings of the guitar with comfort. So at some point I started to recording myself improvising, cut out all that looked fine at the moment and post it on YouTube. Maybe someone remembers that days. I deleted most of that clips at the moment. I got excited with the idea of finishing my pieces of future music and share it online to see reaction. At some point I even did it, but as soon as I recorded, watching it all over again and again, I realized it's not even close to completion. Whole thing was so rushed that I forgot about why I started it and just wanted to see results as quickly as possible. And after a few months or so, I accepted that it was just a first try and decided to move on. I'm still working on it from time to time, trying to get it all together in the best shape as possible. I just realized that it's probably gonna take much more time than I expected in the beginning. Also, right now I'm interested in trying something new, instead of just grinding my improvisation and technique. Therefore, I will learn few tunes in the future, trying to rebalance the dynamic of a known composition, adding a bit different spectrum of emotions in the way to play it. And when I started to learn how to play classics, for example, I've noticed that it's completely different feeling in the hands while you play it, different logic behind every move. And yeah, I still don't want to learn notes, so Synthesia videos quite a salvation for me. And by the way, maybe it's just an easier way for me to learn, visually, because, well, it is what it is. If we all have different hand size, different ways how our mind was working, then why everyone should play and learn by the same system? If it fits for a lot of people, doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be the most efficient way to do things for you in particular. Therefore, always adjust different methods for yourself in order to get maximum effect from it. And getting back to learning process. With guitar, it didn't start so smooth, and I had to find a way to get used to the instrument. As I remember, I started with simple gammas and exercises in order to feel my hand moving patterns, remembering chords, improvising the way from one to another, getting used to moving between them, forging my style and technique in the process of doing so. I even found few picks of chords for piano later on, but still didn't try at the moment. In conclusion, I will say that if you want to improvise, then just do so. Learning classics or whatever other types of music where there is not much place for improvisation not gonna move you closer to freedom of the improv. It is a different set of skills. With experience, you will start to see connection between genres and techniques, but in the very beginning, it's pointless to learn something different instead of just diving into theme you are really interested in. Of course, any teacher might disagree, but they already have a view on things from where they're standing, and most important, they have experience to understand why learn this or that. Dear parents, stop forcing your kids to learn classical music.
What the
When they just want to play Metallica or something. Because without them understanding the reason for learning, it's going to be pointless. How Bach or Chopin somehow gonna teach a student to play better Master of Puppets? How Bach or Chopin somehow gonna teach you student to play better Master of Puppets or whatever? Next composition I learned is Chopin, by the way. How you think what Chopin's composition I've chosen, considering that this is my first experience of doing so, learning classics? Hit subscribe, push-ups, leave the comment below.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it!